How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be painting my C5 Corvette's hood with only spray paint cans. As you guys can see, I've got an interesting paint scheme going on with that yellow hood and red car, so I definitely want to make the hood the same color as the car. I'm not really looking to rock the Ronald McDonald theme for any longer. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, is painting this thing using only spray paint cans. I bought this hood in 2020 off OfferUp for really cheap, like 150 bucks, because a guy bought a wrecked C5 Corvette only to pull the engine and trans out for his engine swap project car. So he sold this hood for pretty cheap, and it was in really good condition. So I went into it knowing that I was going to have to paint this. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and I'm going to be tackling it in the same way I did with my front bumper, which is just only using spray paint cans. So a lot of the work I was doing was really not conducive to talking, or I just wanted to, there were a lot of steps that I had to do and a lot of prep work, including putting the paint booth together. So that's why I'm doing a little voiceover, just to kind of explain some of the steps of the process here. So first step is to obviously sand the old clear coat down. So that's what I was doing on the underside of the hood, and then vacuuming off some of the paint dust. So now switching to the top side of the hood, using the DA sander and being careful to not burn down too low, because I don't want to create any low spots in the hood. Just really trying to rough up the clear coat and make a nice rough surface for the primer to adhere to. So as you guys can see here, this is kind of the finished product. So the clear coat now has that nice dull look to it. So it really should help with the adhesion of the primer. And then the next step is to go in with some isopropyl alcohol, clean the surface of all the sanding dust, and then also any other grease and contaminants on the surface to make the painting process go as smooth as possible. One of the biggest challenges with this whole job was setting up my spray booth. And when I painted the bumper, I did it in my garage with the drop sheets, and that worked pretty good, but it just made, the garage a lot messier. So I was trying to do it out in the front of my house, but the wind wanted to basically turn my pop-up tent into a sail once I had put all the drop sheets on. So I had to progressively add more anchors to keep this thing from flying away. And the drop sheets wanted to blow back and forth everywhere, so that definitely made it interesting walking in and out, and I didn't want to bump into the bumper. But as you can see, I've been progressively working through on the bottom side first, going through primer, and then this was the first base coat, coming out pretty good. And then the next was the clear coat on the underside. And I let the clear coat on the underside cure for a little while, but definitely not long enough to avoid messing up the coating. I knew that I didn't really care a lot about the bottom side because there's a big felt liner that goes under it, and I wanted to get to spending most of my time making the top side look nice. So I flipped it over even when the clear coat was a little tacky, so it definitely kind of gummed up some of the areas where it sat on those sawhorses. But again, top side is the most important. So now I hit the top part with some primer. Primer was going on pretty good, no spitting or spattering. I definitely ran into some challenges with the top side that I'll explain in a summary at the end of the video. Here's the first coat of base coat. And this was part of the challenges, was those cans kept leaking out paint from under the nozzle again. And when you're painting a very large flat surface, that allowed for a lot of drips to happen in the paint. So it was a little frustrating, but for being a rattle can paint job, it came out pretty good, and I attest a lot of that to the 2K clear coat. As you guys can see here, I'm pretty dang happy with the job. Definitely will have to still color sand and buff it, or wet sand and buff it, but overall for being a spray paint job, it's pretty good. So now I'm going to go into an in-person summary of the experience. Alright everyone, so I just want to do a quick little summary at the end of this video to share with you guys how the overall process went with painting my C5 Corvette's hood with only spray paint cans. So overall, am I happy with this job? Yes, 100%. Is it a professional show car quality paint job? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. I want to make that clear. But I went into this with certain expectations. This is a project car with a lot of different things. It's a little rough around the edges still. I mean, there's a giant scratch down the side of the car over there. So I was just shooting, my main goal was, one, to turn this hood from yellow to red, so we were no longer sporting a Ronald McDonald themed Corvette, and two, get it looking somewhat nice with a decently matched, paint job. So I was pretty impressed with the color match, considering that this is a 22-year-old car and we're color matching just the basic OEM paint code. Overall, the color match turned out pretty dang close. So you can see this fender over here is not painted, so there's a little bit of a difference. So you can tell this is a little bit more rich, and this is a little kind of lighter. But hey, what are you gonna do? I mean, I'm not too stressed about it. But overall, that went really well. The challenge was obviously just using spray paint cans and painting both the bottom and top side of the hood all at one time. So I painted the bottom side first because I knew that wasn't going to cure in time to paint the top side in the same day. If I messed up the bottom, which I did by placing it on the sawhorses to paint the top side, not a big deal because there's a big felt pad that goes over the or on the bottom side of the hood anyways. So I think I had some, you know, and as you guys saw, I was not painting in a professional spray booth setup, so that made it a little bit more challenging too. I think I had some humidity issues inside the pop-up tent with all my drop sheets, so that might have made the clear coat kind of pull and then get a lot more orange peel, because I definitely got more orange peel this time when I sprayed my front bumper. But anyways, the biggest challenge was the fact that this is the largest panel on the car and I was spray painting this with only rattle cans, and rattle cans don't like to be sprayed when they're horizontal, they like to be sprayed when they're vertical. I tried playing with the idea of propping this up so I could spray it when the hood is standing up, but that was just gonna be too hard. So because of that, I had to basically spray the hood with the cans at like a 45 or 30 degree angle, and to make sure that the paint and the propellant still stayed mixed while I was spraying. And while I was doing that, the nozzle kind of gummed up a little bit, and I did get a few drops of red in the paint. It's pretty hard to tell on camera, which is nice because it makes it look a lot better than it does to the naked eye that I can see. But from certain angles you can see, so like right there's a drop of red that dropped into the paint, and there's a few of those throughout. But overall we had no major runs or no major like fish eyes or pullback. So I think our surface prep was pretty good. We didn't have any like chemical reactions with the paint, so that turned out really nice. And then the other thing was just the clear coat. As I was spraying the clear, I don't know if something was up with the cans, but we were getting a lot of sputtering, so we kind of get these little like air bubbles almost throughout the paint and whatnot. And then I don't know if I sprayed too much clear, not enough clear, sprayed too fast, too slow, but there is a decent amount of orange peel in the paint. Again, it's hard to show on camera, but you can kind of see with the light, the reflection of the light from certain angles. So overall, my plan is to wet sand and buff this, and if that doesn't turn out well, I do have 2 more cans of the 2K clear, so I could give it 1 more shot of clear coat just to see if I can make it look any better. But even as is right now, I'm pretty stoked with it. So that was definitely challenging, but I learned a lot. That's why I did this. It's a project car. Would I do this on my nice new Tundra? Definitely not. I'd take that to a body shop and pay someone professionally to do that. But because this is a project car and I'm challenging myself and trying to learn new things, that's why I wanted to tackle this myself. So guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you found this entertaining and or informational as you watch me try and spray paint one of the largest panels on a car with only spray paint cans. I definitely learned a lot. It was a tiring process. It's a lot of work. Props to body and paint shop guys, because this is definitely an art. There's so much fine detail and skill in getting a good quality paint job that it's really an art. So respect to you guys. So it was a fun process trying to learn this myself, and I'm pretty happy with the result overall, considering that this is a $7,000 Corvette project car that I got. So if you guys haven't already, definitely subscribe for more content to come on the Corvette build and 3D printing as well, but mostly focusing on the Corvette right now. And other than that guys, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.